Hey everybody, welcome to our latest installment here of the Fantasy Captains videos. Today we're going to be talking some quarterbacks, and just to let you guys know, you can reach us on Twitter at Fantasy Captains, fantasycaptains@gmail.com if you want to email us questions, or find us on Facebook at Fantasy Captains on Facebook. You know, we want to make this as interactive as possible and get questions from everybody, and we'd love to answer those for you guys. So today we wanted to do a quick video on some of our quarterbacks. And Frank, if you want to kind of kick it off, I think we're just going to go over kind of our top quarterbacks, some sleepers, busts, just a quick little snippet on what we're thinking right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously your top quarterbacks, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. Me personally, I don't stretch for those guys. If they're there in the fourth round, I'll definitely grab one, but I wouldn't get a quarterback sooner than that. One of my busts this year, I don't think Andy Dalton is going to be a top 5 fantasy quarterback this year. Not that he had a lucky year. I know he got the big contract and everything, but yeah, I don't see it happening like it did last year.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, Frank, I'm in agreement there. Andy Dalton, if some leagues last year, he was a top 3 quarterback in fantasy points, and that will kind of sway some people. I know he does like to drop the ball off to Gio Bernard, and you got A.J. Green over there, you know, and Marvin Jones and Sanu. There is some talent and some weapons there for him to put up some points, but again, I don't see him replicating what he did last year also, and I think he's getting drafted a little higher than he should be going. So in that case, I would agree he's a bust.
Well, I saw a stat that Andy Dalton, that Bernard and A.J. Green were 70% of his passes last year, so, you know.
Nope,
it's not going to happen again.
I agree. Why I do like those two guys.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take both of them out.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. I definitely could see him being a bit of a bust. For me, if I had to kind of pick a bust right now, is Phillip Rivers. You know, he's burnt me in the past. I know you somewhat disagree, and
you know I do.
I'll let you have your piece on that one. He does have Keenan Allen. I'll give you that. Keenan Allen's a great wide receiver, and he will get the ball to him. But you know, jumping to Danny Woodhead, Phillip Rivers has burnt me in the past. He's not as consistent as I like my starting quarterback to be for where he's getting drafted.
You got to get the dirty taste out of your mouth, pal. Last year, he was a top 5 fantasy quarterback. He had like 4,400 yards and 30 touchdowns. I'll take that any day. I'm not gonna drop him. I'm not gonna pick him up until like the 10th round. You know, but. You know, and I probably wouldn't take him as my first quarterback, but a backup quarterback, I'll take him. Yeah, I'd rather take like a Cutler or a Romo over Phillip Rivers any day.
I'd be fine with that. If Phillip Rivers is my backup quarterback, I'm happy. I mean, his average draft position right now is the 11th round, so what you're saying is the value is there in the 11th round. If he's there, I have no issue with that. But hopefully he's not my starting quarterback, because I do like to wait on quarterbacks. So,
yeah, me too.
You know, like for me, I'm eyeing a guy like Tony Romo, to be honest with you. His average draft position right now is around the 9th round. 94th overall. We're looking at some of the mock drafts, probably 1,500 mock drafts that we pull some stats from. Mm-hmm. So right now he's going 94th overall. He's a guy, like I've said in past videos, I just think they're going to be playing from behind a lot, and he's someone in the 9th round, and that's kind of where I like to get my quarterback. Maybe I'll stretch in the 7th, 8th round if there's someone still really good on the board,
like a Luck or
or you know, if Stafford's there in the 5th round, I might pull the trigger, because I think Stafford's gonna have a big year. But
yeah, I agree with that.
What's your take on that stuff?
Well, you know, I got some super sleepers. You know, I got 2 that I really like this year. I think they're gonna do good. I like Sam Bradford this year if he can stay healthy. He hasn't in a while, but he was on pace to have a pretty good year before he got hurt. And Tannehill has a new offense. It's sort of like the Chip Kelly offense, where he's going to be dumping the ball and throwing these little passes, so I think he can have a solid year too. I wouldn't draft him as my first quarterback again, but, you know, last pick of the draft, you need a backup quarterback. Those are the 2 guys that I'm looking at.
It's fair. The only worry with a Chip Kelly-style offense is the dipping and dunking, is that the stats aren't always there for fantasy points. You know, 70% completion percentage, but 210 yards and maybe a touch is not going to win you a week. Yeah. But again, he's going.
For a bye week, you know.
Dude, the guy, his average draft position right now is 163. Yeah. So, I mean, he's going 16th round, around 15th, 16th round, depending if it's 10 or 12 team draft. So, absolutely, you like him as a sleeper, a backup there. That's. I mean,
I'd probably take a Carson Palmer over those 2 personally. because he has more weapons, but he is in the NFC West.
Well, so Sam Bradford.
So Sam Bradford, that's true.
You know, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
You know, that's a tough division with some tough defenses. So, you know, those are those quarterbacks that you're going to have, and then have to make those decisions on those weeks where they're playing inside the division if you have someone else on the bench for matchup purposes that you might roll with. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, for me, I think Frank, we both agree, you know, this year, you know, unless you're you're in a league, you know your league's better than we do. If quarterbacks go early and there's runs on quarterbacks and a Manning, a Breeze, and a Rodgers, you know, if the point system works out where quarterbacks are important, especially those super flex leagues where you could play 2 quarterbacks, you know, then you change it up. And obviously you want to try to pull the trigger on one of those big boys early.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
You know, for us, I think there's enough talent in where these guys are going in the draft to pick up you know, a decent quarterback that could carry your team behind the talent you'll get at other positions in the first few rounds. So
yeah, no, I agree.
So you know, these are gonna be little quicker videos. I think with our position battles here, you know, as we get along. I mean, we still have 3 more weeks of true preseason football to see how things shape up, see who these quarterbacks are targeting in practice, and how they start looking. And you know, again, like you said, injuries always play a part. So you know, if you have any questions, please, like I said, I'm gonna hype this up a little bit this week, but you know, at Fantasy Captains on Twitter, Facebook, and then fantasycaptains@gmail.com. Email us, please hit us up on Twitter. We'd love to make this a more interactive show and answer some of your questions. So we appreciate you guys viewing us, and hopefully you're starting to like it. So
thanks, guys.
Thanks again.